Alright everybody, recording this again because the last time it had the wrong screen being captured, so that was a nice waste of 20 minutes. But I'm re-recording this after having done a couple other things, so if you see some unfamiliar stuff, it'll be popping up in the next couple of videos probably. So right now we're going to go over some basics, kind of what is a blueprint class, what are the different parts of it, and why is it important. So a blueprint or blueprint class being the full name, is basically the equivalent of a class in other coding languages, and essentially it is kind of, as the name says, a blueprint for an item. For example, the character we had running around earlier, that is our third-person blueprint. And we have the blueprint for them down here in content, third-person blueprints. We can open them up, and here's some stuff I'd made for some other stuff, but we'll get to that later. And then inside of here you can see stuff relating to the different movement, basically the turning of the mouse to adjust the camera, the jump, and just your initial front, back, forward, left, right movement. All very very simple type stuff, just your basics in terms of the code that actually lets you do what you can do in there. And basically if it's not in here, they're not going to be able to do it, more or less. So there's a few other places where stuff is, and we'll get to those also. Then the viewport over here is where the actual physical representation of it is. And within that, you've got a few different, there's a bunch of different possible components, but we'll just go over a few basics right here. So, capsule component, when you think of your character, you think of, the guy in the middle right there. But what's actually generally being impacted upon is this component around here, which is a collision cylinder, which means anytime something collides with it, it's going to potentially do something. So while this guy in there may be your character, this area out here is where what's actually being impacted. And you can create additional collision areas for different body parts, for different all kinds of things. Arrow component is I believe it's just the direction they're facing. The mesh is what mesh actually is that represents that person, and you can adjust that over here. You can switch to, say, the female one, or you can get so many different other meshes. And so there's different types of meshes. There's a skeletal mesh versus a static mesh. A skeletal mesh has a skeleton and can move. As you can see, he's able to move around inside of there. He's breathing basically. If it is a static mesh, it's just as it says. It's static. It doesn't move. It doesn't do much of anything outside of being able to change its position, change its rotation, and change its size. So while this one can move its individual body parts, for example, something that is a static mesh, such as this one right here, it's just going to stay there, but it can eventually move around in different areas within here. But it in itself, if there were multiple parts of that, it'd be easier to make sense. But basically, for example, if this guy was a static mesh, he would literally just be standing there and not moving, such as if we turned off animation blueprint here. So that's the wrong thing there, so never mind. But basically, if we were to where's pause the animation, it would basically look like that and never move, other than being able to move around in different locations like that, or to rotate. So that's kind of what the mesh is. And then you've got the camera, which is basically the camera that is literally following the guy. So when you're playing the character in game, that's what's following him around. There's a million different other things that come up in there, and the camera boom is what's actually holding that camera. So that's kind of just the basics of the viewport type area. Over on the left side, we've got another important area, which is variables. And variables are, as the name implies, something that can change, and basically something that's storing data. And there's, for every type of item that there is, you can make a variable for it. Example on this one, when I was showing the health stuff, I'd created a current health and a max health, which are real numbers, which are basically numbers that have decimal points. Simplifying greatly there, but just but basically those are going to kind of be the pieces of your character that tell what data makes them up. Then over here we've got functions, and what a function is a grouping of code that tells the character to do something. And functions are specific to a blueprint and its children, and we'll get into children in a little bit. Actually, we can go to that now. Basically, a child would be something that inherits everything from that parent. So now we've created this third-person character child, and you'll see up here there's nothing actually in their begin play, because they're getting it from their parent there. So everything that was happening up in this begin play over here happens over here, and any of the things that it can do up here, this character can do even if it's not listed in there. And for example, we've got these variables over here in the parent. We can actually find those over in this one. See? So a child blueprint inherits everything from the parent, but the stats themselves can potentially be modified afterwards. So they'll inherit essentially the shell, and it's up to you to fill in the rest of it. So going back to functions, again, so when you have a character doing something, you can either have it listed out here in the event graph, and this is essentially real-time things going on. A function basically can't have anything real-time in it, essentially. And the reason for that is because it literally just, it goes. It doesn't, take into account real life or anything like that. But you can, adjust other settings within it. But for example, let's say we wanted to just create a function that I can't even think of one right now. That'd be a good example. So I'm sorry. But okay, we can actually just go ahead and do a quick simple function here to just do a print string. So go off new function here. We'll just type print string. And it's going to say hello, and we're just going to call this one hello. So then what we want to do is let's compile and save that, and then now what we can do is we can go down here, and we're going to get into key bindings later, but for right now let's just type 8. So we're going to go to the 8 keyboard, and when we push that, we want to go ahead and call that function, which is hello. So now we can go ahead and compile, save, and now if we click play, now if we hit the 8 button, it prints screen hello up there. So very simple introduction to a function on there, just kind of really showing you what it is and what they do, and they can get as complex as you want it to be. We'll get more into that later on. So that's overview of the event graph, an overview of functions. Construction script is literally what happens when this is created, and this could be if you want to have it set specific stats when it's created, if you want to have it maybe be able to change something a little bit afterwards when it's created, if you want to be able to have it, create different ways in certain environmental situations. You could have it so that, okay, if this, when it's spawned or when it creates in game, it is in a specific area, I wanted to do a certain thing. For example, let's say you had a blueprint for a tree, and okay, if it spawns in one area, you want it to, maybe be a certain size. If it spawns in a different area, you want it to be a different size. You can adjust all that inside of construction script and all that stuff. Again, the world is your oyster. It's all just about figuring out what do you want to have and what do you want to do with it, and what data needs to move from one area to another to make that happen. So that is, so we got components, we've got basics of the blueprints over here. But again, one thing I just definitely want to point out is, again, if it's in a blueprint, it's usable by that blueprint and all of its children, but not in another blueprint. So for example, if I had my third person character and I created a function and I created a different blueprint for a different type of character, it wouldn't be able to use the same functions or the same variables without recreating them. And that's why, parent and children classes are such a great thing. So let's just go ahead and try to think if there's anything else inside of here. Again, we'll get more into detail in variables and functions and all that other stuff in future ones. I'm just trying to give a quick breakdown real quick. Something else is, I mentioned, classes and things like that. So class defaults, that's basically all the stuff that it's getting from its parent class. So basically everything that's over here was more or less part of its parent. And then if we go into this clone over here, then we go to its class defaults, then over here we should actually see those other variables. Okay, maybe. Yeah, so current health, max health, so we see those new variables listed over there, and those class defaults, because since its parent's class is that, those are not part of that. So that is just a crash course on what a blueprint is, what variables are, what the viewport is, what some of the different components inside of the viewport are, and just for example, to show you something here, let's go ahead and just add a random static mesh in here, and we're just going to call this thingy, because I don't know what else to call it, and we're just going to pick a random freaking static mesh. We'll call it that. And now we're just going to put this up here. And this is the latest to show you what you could do. So now if I go in here and play, we can see literally he's got a freaking mesh thing sticking out in front of him, and it can bonk things, move things around, but it in of itself is not moving in any way whatsoever because it's literally just static, so it's not part of his, you know, skeletal mesh and not part of his skeletal animations. And the reason why, you know, even though it's that mesh crossing that, it's still this character because that mesh is now part of said character. So, yeah. Yeah, things to look at, and that exploding ball thing we'll go over in the next episode, because again, that was something I'd done, but now I had to undo. So yeah, hopefully this at least kind of gave a good crash course on what blueprints and classes and variables and functions are. So, hope you enjoyed it. All right, bye.